Oh my god, it's childhood friends to lovers. I've not enjoyed a romance book as much as this in a long time. Oh my god, I'm so excited for this video. Hi guys, I'm Liv and today I'm going to be doing, well, this video is going to be me reading the entire Chestnut Springs series. As of last week, the next installment of the Chestnut Springs series came out. I think it's the 5th book. Really, I've been wanting to read the Chestnut Springs series for ages and people rave about it all the time. So I picked it up the other day on Kindle Unlimited and I went, let's start it. Started it and went, oh my god, this is amazing, I need to do a video on this. So I started the first book, which is Flawless, about 90 pages in so far and I'm really enjoying it. I'm listening to a playlist on Spotify. It's like a cowboy themed playlist and I'm really enjoying it. It's getting me into it. I've never read a cowboy book before. A sub-genre that I've never experienced. So at first it was hard for me to get into because I'm used to like the billionaire romances and things like that. First one, it seems like it's not enemies to lovers, but they don't like each other. It's forced proximity between the two people. So we've got our cowboy and he's a bit of a rebel. He's got himself into some hot water right now. He is in a tricky situation where he's lost all his sponsors and people don't really want to know him anymore because some video came out basically making him look like a bit of a bad person. This girl is the daughter of his manager and she has been interested in basically being a babysitter for him, making sure that he doesn't do stupid stuff and looking out for him. Tension, he doesn't want this babysitter, but at the same time he doesn't want to be mean to this girl because he kind of is starting to like her as a person and thinks that she's not a bad person, and she is starting to like his grumpy side. So already it's very hot, it's very spicy, and we're only 90 pages in. Both of them have had bad thoughts about each other, which they've not shared with each other and nothing has happened, but they have had bad thoughts about each other, which I think is just funny. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really good book. I'm excited to read this book. I expect the spice to be as it is already. Like, there's no sugarcoating it. They're just full on saying, like, they're dropping those words that I didn't expect to find in this book. The cover just seemed quite cutesy to me, but that always throws me off. Like, Icebreaker threw me off because that cover is cartoons and very cute. The book is filthy. Okay, I'm officially halfway through the book and I am just, I'm so in love with it. I haven't read a book that I like this much, like a romance book, in a long time. Like, we're talking since like the Twisted books. I liked King of Wrath and I liked The Fine Print, but this hits different. This is hitting like, as I said, the Twisted series. Twisted Love, Twisted Games, Icebreaker. That's the vibe I'm getting from it. So if you're thinking, should I read the Chestnut Springs series? Well, I'm halfway through Flawless and I'm really enjoying it. I love the main character. I don't quite know how to say his name. It's R-H-E-T-T. I've been calling him like Riot, but I don't actually know what his name is. I don't know how to say it. I love the character Summer and I loved Riot, or I don't know if it's called Ree or Riot or Rat. I don't know what to call them. I love Riot and Summer. I just think they're so cute. And we're halfway through the book and they're not together or anything. So it's definitely a slow burn. I'm really enjoying that, I can't lie to you. It was a bit hard the first chapter to get into because I've never read a cowboy romance before. Man, I'm really liking it. It's just so good. I like the way the slow burn has been written. I think it's just so well written in my opinion. For a start, it's not slow as in there's nothing happening and there's absolutely no fire or chemistry between them. There is so much chemistry, that's why it's working so well. Dual perspective for a start. So you get both perspectives of these two people and they both have fire for each other. They both have this chemistry and they both have a burning to be with each other, but they have to be professional. And Riot's wanting to just throw caution to the wind and just go for it, and she's like, no, this is my career on the line. Really like Chestnut Springs. I love the area, but we've mainly just seen the ranch and the area of the bullfighting where the bull riding. God, it's not bullfighting. I love the ranch, I can't lie, and I love the brothers. I think that it's such a cute villagey feel. It's giving me Knock 'em Out vibes, which I've only read the first Knock 'em Out book, but I love the vibes of the village. I need to read the rest of them. 408 pages and I've read 206. So I've basically got 202 pages left to read. I've read about 100 pages so far. So I feel like I could try and do it. It's definitely doable. Just depends how I'm feeling. Since I last updated you, there's now an ex-boyfriend who's still in the picture. Not in the picture, but he won't leave her alone. Her story is like a what the F sort of moment. It's something that you genuinely are thinking, oh my god, he's a terrible person for that. Now we've had the conflict. There's always a conflict towards the end of a romance where there's a reason they can't be together and the resolve. The conflict I actually am really enjoying. I think it's actually a really legitimate reason. Okay, I finished the book.
and it's currently 11:30. I managed to get through it very, very easily. It was a very quick read for me. So let's have a chat about it. I really, really enjoyed. I've not enjoyed a romance book as much as this in a long time. The main tropes that you see are forced proximity, one bed trope where it's like shared bed, with a business romance. It was definitely a slow burn, I will say that. The first half of the book, we don't really see any physical contact between the two characters, which I've now found out how to pronounce his name. It's Rhett, and she is, oh god, what's her name? Summer. Rhett and Summer. I don't know why I called him Riot. That's like a different book. The intimate scenes, they were written so brilliantly. I'd compare them to Twisted Games, as I've said. Definitely recommend them. Definitely compare them to Twisted Games, 100%, because they were so thought out, so well written, incredibly explicit, but not in a way that's just a bit gross. In a way that you read everything that you want to hear about. This book features heavily on the praising, making Summer feel like she's wanted and making her feel like, you know, she's actually valued as a person because of everything she's gone through. The ex-boyfriend that comes into this story, and you find out his story and like who he is and everything. That is a massive like twist and turn of a story. I did enjoy who the ex was. I didn't like the ex obviously, but I enjoyed who he was because it wasn't just oh, he's my ex-boyfriend, we don't like him. It was he was an actual terrible person. I appreciated him being written as an actual terrible person. So I love when books involve the name of the book in the book, and they involved it in the book, and I was like, yes, because I wondered why it was called Flawless, and then they included it. Also loved the conflict and the resolve, because in a romance, as everybody knows, there's always the build-up, the conflict, and then the resolution. And the conflict and the resolve I adored, I loved it, and the prologue I also enjoyed. Yeah, I feel like it's a 4.5 for me. And that's a brilliant score still. This book very much focused on healing each other from things that they've gone through. And I love that. And the fact that this book ended on a, we're not both fixed yet. We're gonna need to take time to heal ourselves and to be able to fix ourselves. And we're not quite there yet. And I thought that was such a good way to end it. So yeah, I would give this book a solid 4.5 stars. I'm so excited to read the next one. So the next book is Heartless. And I really am so excited to read this. So it says my contract is for 2 months, but my heart says this is forever. And I'm not going to bore you with the blurb or anything. Oh my god, it's got so many tropes that interest me. Okay, so this book, I'm going to skim read, is about Cade Eaton, which is Rhett's older brother. It's the age trope, and he is 13 years older than her. She is a nanny working for him, and he's a single dad. He's very grumpy, Cade. He was in the first book. He's very rough, he's very serious, and he's very grumpy. This is a workplace romance then, really. So it's about Cade and a nanny, and she's called Willa. Oh my god, you're joking! Oh my god! You know it's good when you really want to read the next one, like I'm on teeter on the edge, but I know that tomorrow I need to get up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, it is the next day and I need to update you on this book. 37% into this book, page 163. I could definitely read this in the next 3 hours. I've got nothing else I need to do, so I think I'm going to try and finish this book today. Elsie Silver is definitely one of my absolute favourites. Love her style of writing. I do enjoy Willa in this book, and I think that her character is such a firecracker. So Willa she's got red hair, she's very cheeky and very out there, very spontaneous, and she has become the nanny for Luke, which is Cade's son. Cade is a lot older, so there's an age gap trope in this book, and almost like a workplace sort of romance going on. So much tension between them though, and it's written so well. Like the tension, you can feel it, but it's not in like an annoying way. It's in a way that's like, oh my god, this is gonna be so good when this tension like breaks and they finally touch each other. Luke also is written in such a good way. I think his character is absolutely adorable. Sometimes with kids and books, it's hit and miss whether or not you know that you like the way they've been written, because very much like we find out like about Cade and why he's a single dad, what happened to his partner, and basically where Luke's mum is, or where, you know, what happened to Luke's mum, why she isn't in the picture. I can't believe I put off this series for so long because I wasn't sure if I'd like the cowboy aspect. billionaire romances and cowboys, but I actually feel like billionaire romances is like doing this and cowboy romances is like going up here. It's honest to God been about 2 chapters since I last spoke to you, but this book, the last book seemed like it was very sexy and intimate and everything, me kicking my legs and stuff. This book has me my feels, like the stuff that Cade's gone through with his ex-partner. I actually feel like emotional about this book. It's an emotional one, like it's got emotional points in this one about Cade and his background and him being a single dad and everything. Okay, it's official. I love this book. I am just so in love with watching Wheeler take care of Luke. He's had a bit of an incident where he's not well and she's like helping him out and her heart's breaking at seeing him not well. My heart is breaking because it's just too emotional for me. Honestly love Luke's character. I think it's been written so well and I cannot applaud Elsie Silver's writing enough. Like, phenomenal. Would highly recommend. I am getting into this book now. I have got an hour and a half left. I'm on page 295. The book is phenomenal. Such a build up to this romance and I'm really thoroughly enjoying it. It's reassuring him that she is only for him and everything he's gone through. Like, it just felt like so heartfelt for her to like ensure that he feels wanted. I'm in shock at how much I enjoyed that book. I don't have any words. I'm gonna say, as of right now, it's currently basically on par to the Twisted series, and everybody knows that's like my favourite series, like romance series. I'm really enjoying this series. It's honestly phenomenal. The reason I'm comparing it to the Twisted series is because of the stuff that happened in this book is so similar in a way that storylines get continued into the next book. Little things that happened in one book will get included in another book, resolved. So like, for instance, in the Twisted series, obviously Alex and Ava happen and Josh is Ava's brother and he's like, I'm not happy with this, and that gets resolved in a later book, not in the same book, it gets resolved later on in the series. In the space of about 200 pages, we saw more about Luke's mom, Luke's real mom, and everything about her, who she is, how she came into Cade's life. We saw more of the family, which I appreciated massively. We saw more of Rhett and Summer. We saw more of Winter, who is Summer's sister. More of Harvey, which is the granddad. More of Jasper as well, and the sister that we didn't meet in the first book, which is Violet. I will say that in the middle, I did find myself a little bit like, I'm getting a little bit bored. The stuff happened and I was like, what the hell? Like the plot twist well, not plot twist, but like the shock of something that happened, I was like not expecting. Truth about Winter, about who she really, like not who she really is, she hasn't got a secret identity, this doesn't shatter me. Truth of how she feels about Summer and their whole like conflict that happened in the first book. Moody, grumpy cowboy, that's kind of like the theme throughout this series. But yeah, I did enjoy it thoroughly. What would I rate it? I don't know. I'm really conflicted. On one hand, the stakes were higher than the first one. I mean, we knew more about the family, we got to know them more. I loved Luke, he's a brilliant character, he's so adorable. The big thing that happened really shocked me. This book, we didn't necessarily have a, this is why we can't be together. It was more of like, events happened which made the characters question if they should be together, which I did appreciate. That was a really, it's a new way to have that little break in a romance. As much as I have enjoyed this book, my favourite couple out of the 2 couples I've read so far is Rhett and Summer, because their heat and their chemistry was on a different level. I loved reading about the bull riding, so that book is like my favourite right now, and that was definitely 4.5. I feel like as much as I liked this book, I don't know, I feel like I'd want to put it at a 4.25. That doesn't mean it's not a good book. I absolutely adored it. I love the writing, it's brilliant. And I'll have to say, like, the storyline, like the stakes were so much higher than the first one. Onto the book Powerless, which is the next one. I'll click read now because I can't get onto the information. This one's about Jasper, isn't it? Jasper is the like family friend who they all see as their brother. Been through things as well, which is slightly touched in Heartless. but we didn't really like find anything about that. Oh my god, it's childhood friends to lovers. Childhood friends to lovers. That's such a good trope. Oh, I'm doing a video by the way pretty soon of like TikTok tropes, book tropes, and like where I'd rank them on like a tier list. I just thought that would be quite fun to do. Because I read a lot of books, but sometimes I want to do like a little bit of a different content, still book content, but like I want to give my eyes a rest. I thought it would be. It's about Sloane and Jasper. So Sloane is in the last book we just read. Sloane, we find out, is getting married. She's engaged, but she seems a bit off about the engagement. Like when she shows the ring, she's like, yeah, that's the ring. And so the blurb in this says, when everything at your wedding like crumbles down, she should have known that he was going to be there to fix it. And that's about Jasper. And then it says about how she always thought they'd only see each other as friends, but it's clear that he's always looked at her in a different way. I absolutely adore like childhood friends to lovers. I just think it's one of the best tropes, honestly, because it's just so meaningful. And it already has a prologue in there. Prologue, yeah. Because the one at the end, is that a prelude? I don't know. Age 10. So we're gonna get a bit of perspective of Sloane and Jasper when they were kids, which is just, it's giving Love and Other Words. Like it's giving Love and Other Words with that whole like, let's go back on the past. And oh, I'm so excited. Powerless will be my 60th book of the year that I'm reading. Okay, it is update time. It is safe to say this book, it is giving Love and Other Words, and I knew it would. Instantly, friends to lovers. It's just, it's such an emotional trope for me. Like, hits me in the feels every time. Right up to page 81, I've read 6 chapters. I'm 18% through the book so far. I've had Sloane was set to marry somebody who she didn't like, she didn't, you know, want to be with, but it was arranged by her dad to make an alliance with a different company. That was the marriage. It was an arranged marriage, really. And Sloane finds out that this guy has not necessarily been faithful to her. He goes to Jasper for help. They actually talk about the tension. Like, they actually say to each other about how like flirty stuff and things. So we've had like moments where Sloane has said things like, oh, I bet you'll have all the other girls pining after you. And Jasper went, Sloane, you're the only girl for me. That's just everything to me. We're getting flashbacks about Jasper's past, which we don't know much about Jasper's past. Like, we don't know anything. All we know from the other books is that Beau saved his life, which is what Jasper says. Do you think I'm going to enjoy this one more than Heartless? A little bit nervous for the 4th book. I really want to enjoy it because I do like Theo, who is in the 4th book. It's Theo and Winter. I'll cross that bridge when I get onto it. I'm glad I'm getting back into Kindle reading because I read so quick on my Kindle. Like, I'm reading like a book a day right now. And yeah, it's really good. This book is a little bit longer than the last one. It's about just under 500 pages. Hello, we have moved places. I'm back in my flat, I'm back at uni, and it's the same day, it's still Sunday. I don't think I've actually been telling you what days I've been reading these books, but it don't matter. I'm still reading Powerless, and I'm very much enjoying it. I adore Jasper and Sloane. I think they're so adorable, and the friends to lovers, like childhood friends to lovers, is just, it's sending me emotional. I'm kicking my legs, I'm giggling. I'm 220 pages into this book, so basically nearly halfway. I'm honestly so enthralled with this book. I'm obsessed. Oh, this is gonna be a good one. This is gonna be a really good book. It's also quite like close proximity. Since I last saw you, I don't know, I didn't update you on much. Sloane has like reunited with Harvey, which is the dad of the boys. Sloane is the boys' cousin. So they're all family, apart from Jasper, who is like their found brother. He's not actually their brother. Knows them all. Jasper's secret is like coming out. We're finding out about what the truth happened with him and his sister, and why he's so private, why he's so secretive about everything. I'm gonna read as much as I can tonight, and then I'll update you whenever anything else happens. It's literally been about 5 minutes. we've just found out exactly why Sloane and Jasper never got together. She was always in love with him and always has been as a child, and he was always a little older than her, so nothing ever happened. They both dated other people and everything, and things never happened, and he always shut it down. And so she's frustrated, and she's like taking out her frustration on him, and it's just come out why they never got together, and the truth. There always is a truth in these like childhood friends to lovers. There's always something that happened in the childhood for why they couldn't be together. Okay, update time. I'm gonna apologise profusely because the fan in this room is so bloody loud because Sam is playing his game. I love the dynamic between Sloane and Jasper. I just think it's so good. And the little scenes where Sloane wears Jasper's a jersey with Jasper's name on it, his last name, I just melts my heart. I absolutely love it. Okay, it was the next day and I have finished Powerless. I'm gonna sit you down and talk to you. It was what people were promising to me, and it delivered. This book, a 4.75, it was phenomenal, and I absolutely love Jasper and Sloane. What I got up to last time was they've just had their first physical, intimate interaction with each other. The spice is hot and it's everything. See more of Jasper and Harvey. So the book as a whole, let's talk about it. This book has so many tropes in it that I adore. So we've got childhood friends to lovers for a start. On bed trope. Close proximity is definitely there. Sports romance because the hockey guy. I honestly thoroughly enjoyed this book so much. I thought that Sloane and Jasper's relationship was brilliant. From the start, there is this chemistry. There's this vibe between them. The fact that there weren't too many flashback scenes, I really enjoyed. I don't mind a flashback scene, but sometimes it can get a bit heavy with flashback scenes, especially in a childhood friends to lovers story. They can get very heavy with the flashback scenes and it can get a bit boring. Too many, there was a couple. I think it was about like a handful. The truth about Jasper's family and Sloane's family and how they've got these strained relationships with their family. The epilogue was just beautiful. It's an interaction between Harvey and Jasper, and it's everything and more. But Reckless. This man is hard to trust and even harder to resist. So that's this one. And Reckless is about Winter and Theo. I've also noticed they do the same thing in Twisted, in the Twisted series. We see a glimpse of the couple that's going to be in the next book. So in Powerless, we saw a glimpse of Winter and Theo's interaction with each other. Winter is Summer's stepsister, half-sister. This book is, I'm really nervous about it because of the trope, pregnancy trope, which I don't like the pregnancy trope. I really don't. It irks me. Like, I feel, I've never said that before in my life. It irks me. I don't really like it when children are involved as such. Like, it's so weird to say that because I did enjoy Heartless and I enjoyed The Takeover from the Miles High Club, and those both involved children. But I feel like it depends on how it's executed. It is unwanted though, technically. It is unwanted because they didn't plan to have it. Yeah, I don't really buy into that trope very much. I just don't vibe with it. But I'm gonna read that today and I'll see if I can get through the whole thing, because I'm gonna see if I can get through the whole book, because I read quite quickly, and this book, let's see how long it says it's gonna take to read. Oh my god, it's not turning on. It's turned on.
What does it say?
What?
How long it's gonna take to read?
I don't know yet. I'm gonna look. It'll be in about this book. 8 hours and 5 minutes. I'll read a bit now and I'll read a bit later and I'll see if I can get through it. But I'm going to try and get through this today and then get through Hopeless tomorrow, which is the last book. And I've seen so many TikToks of people saying when your book series that you adore is like finally over, and it's like that horrible like sinking feeling. And I do get that. It is that heartbreakful when the series is over, but we can always go back and reread it.
Of course we can. Ready. We'll be ready.
Okay.
I'll see you soon.
See you soon. But overall, yeah, I really enjoyed it. I love Jasper and Sloane, as I've said a million times. Okay, little update. I'm on page 32 so far. We've met both Theo and Winter has had an interaction with him at a gas station. On her way to see Summer, her sister, and she's hoping that they can like reconnect and if someone will forgive her. The first interaction, and they have fire. Like, she's so fiery and spicy when she talks to him. The history between Theo and Winter is so undeniable, and the thing about them is it's not just chemistry, it's like they are like fire and ice with each other, and they're both so intense but in different ways. So cute. Okay, it is sometime later. It is about 8 o'clock and I've read some more of my book. I've been to uni and everything. That lighting is not flattering, that's better. I've been to uni and everything, and I picked up the book again and I'm on to page 80 something, 83 I think. I really don't like this book and it's breaking my heart to say it, but I just don't. I was into it, okay? I was into the whole thing because Theo and Winter were like really spicy, they had chemistry, it was everything and more. And then they had their one night stand, which obviously starts the whole thing about the unwanted pregnancy. Obviously she figures it out, she's like, oh my god, I'm pregnant, and she figures out who it will be with. All that was brilliant, you know, I got with it. But then we have a time jump. And we're not even talking a few weeks, we're talking 18 months. I just don't have the mindset to read on, because the blurb like made it seem as though it was going to be her being pregnant and him and her like figuring out their romance and everything. I'm surprised because I don't really enjoy the pregnancy trope. We've not even looked at the pregnancy. Hello. Okay, it's been a couple of days and I will admit it has taken me so much strength to force myself to read the rest of this book. These clips, I'm wearing the same clothes because I'm obsessed with 2 jumpers, because they're the only sweatshirts I have with embroidered stuff on. They're both from Hollister. Just saying. Right, let's talk about Reckless. I finished Reckless today and it has taken me a grand total of 3 days to read this book. That is unheard of when it comes to me and this series. I've been reading a book a day, but I've really not been into this book. I hate the trope. I absolutely despise, well, you'll know from my last video, hating romance tropes, unplanned pregnancy trope. I just think that an unplanned pregnancy trope for me, it gives the main characters a bad reason to get together. It's like almost like they're forced to get together, really. They're forced into this relationship with each other. I have like a shock before the time jump, which I'm not going to ruin. But there's a shock and we find out the truth later on. The dynamic between Theo and Winter, which is instantly a bit tension, which is expected because like they had a one night stand and then all of a sudden there's all these commitments they've got to each other. Feelings that they haven't visited that they feel between each other. And so we get this like awkwardness of them when they interact with each other. Normal, I haven't seen you in a while, all of a sudden to, oh my god, I can't wait to have you. And it was a bit like, okay. I don't know, I felt like it was just too quick for them all of a sudden to like be obsessed with each other. So I'm a little bit unsure of the rating I've given it. I personally do not like Theo. I think he's a really bad character. My reason for that is one scene that happens. So there is a scene where they are chatting. Winter has always felt second to Summer. We already know that from the other books. There's always been that tension. He's felt second, and Theo makes some comment where he jokes that he wants to try the other sister. And Winter flips because she already feels second to Summer anyway in everyday life. And now the father of her child is making jokes about it. And instead of him realising that he effed up, he has a go at Winter and says that she's being sensitive and will you ever see what I see in you? But it's like, you made a joke at her expense. How is that a nice thing to do? How is she gonna feel that you like her if you're making jokes at her expense? I also didn't like a lot of how much he was coming on to Winter. I just felt it came across the wrong way for me. This is all my opinion, of course you may have your own. I just didn't like how vulgar he was with certain things. I'm not a person to shy away from vulgarity, but for me, he was just too vulgar with the things he was saying to her. Closure between her and Kip, which is her dad, and a reconciliation between the two of them, which I appreciated. I did initially give this book a 4-star, but looking back at it, I'd have to give it a 3.75. And it's the lowest ranked book of this entire book series. I feel bad saying that, but I can't help it. I just don't like this book. And you may enjoy it, you may enjoy the trope, you may enjoy Theo. I personally just don't. So as of right now, I'm going to rank the books before I read the last book, which is Hopeless, which is about Beau and Bailey, and it is a fake dating, fake fake engagement story. Okay, we've moved on to Hopeless, and I've read one chapter so far. So this book is a lot longer than the other ones. This book's 530 pages roughly, and the other ones were about 400 to 450, 460. We're following Beau and Bailey, and so far we are basically catching up with Beau after he's been through a traumatic experience where he was MIA when he was out. He'd been drafted somewhere. He was MIA, he missed his transport back to the base, and then when he finally got back, he had suffered burns, and he's been through treatment for them and skin grafts and everything. And he physically looks great, but mentally he's just not, because he's not dealt with it. Okay, I'm on page 81, which is chapter 7, and I am really liking this book. I'm liking it a lot more than the last one. It's definitely a lot darker. I've noticed that the first 4 chapters for me were really depressing and quite emotional, because we're seeing how Bailey and Beau both live these completely different lives, which are both so difficult for them to deal with. So we've got Bailey, who comes from a family who are known to be involved in drug dealings and get in trouble with the police, and etc, etc. From her last name alone, people judge her and assume that she is going to be as bad as her brothers and get into trouble. Nobody wants to hire her, nobody trusts her, and instantly when people see her, they have the wrong impression. Whilst Beau is clearly going through a lot with what he suffered when he went MIA, and he has got a lot of demons that he's dealing with. Like, broken souls, they're both lost souls, and so they are, you know, pulled to each other. They've agreed that, well, Beau has decided that he wants to give her his last name, so they're going to fake a engagement, and then they're going to call off the engagement not long before the wedding is meant to happen. And he wants to prove that it doesn't matter if she's got his name or another name, she still should be respected and people will respect her and she sticks up for herself. Look, there's already been like a little sneaky glance at like guys, her brother's friends being very forward with her and like grabbing her and stuff, and Beau really doesn't like that. He's not the type of person who can sit by and watch that. Okay, it's halfway through the book now. I am halfway through the book now. I love Beau and I love Bailey. I think they're just so cute together, and I'm at the halfway point. There's like the sexual chemistry, the tension. Beau's starting to realise that the town really do have a vendetta against Bailey because of her last name, and he's starting to get frustrated with the town because he thinks it's such a ridiculous thing to blame her for the things that her family have done. She just deserves a break. So I like the dynamic because Bailey reminds me of myself. Like, she's just quite crude and she like isn't afraid to talk about things. Like, she asks him the most random questions in the world and he's like, Bailey, you can't ask people that. And she's like, why? That's how I am. Like, I just ask questions and then it's like, people say you probably shouldn't ask that like out in public, and it's like, why? I finished the book. That book was amazing. That's possibly my favourite book. I'm actually kind of in shock. That book was amazing, like phenomenal. It is the next day. I'm wearing the exact same stuff. My notes about this series. So let's talk about the final book and then the rest of the series. Like the whole series as a whole. Adored the end of the book. There was a plot twist which I genuinely did not see coming. It was not hinted or anything, and I was like, I am shook. I never said that word in my life. Fix of Bailey and Beau's relationship. Obviously there's like the hiccup in the relationship that makes you think maybe we can't be together. Ending, I just adored. One of the main things I adored about this book was that it was so different to the others. All the others, it's mainly about their relationship only, but this book, it was also about Bailey as a person. The main tropes in this book were fake dating and age gap. And I also want to say Two Lost Souls is from a family of criminals and drug dealers, etc. And she has always been seen as being involved in that, even though she's never been involved. The town never have trusted her. They always think badly of her. She wants for once to be in a place where people don't think the worst of her. They think that, you know, they don't have any idea of who she is, and she wants to start fresh. Bailey is just this brilliant character. I really love her character. She reminds me of myself. She's just so curious about life, and she's just such a positive person, even though throughout her life people have just been negative towards her. It's such a good book, if I'm honest, and I gave it a 4.75. I loved how there were two lost souls who found comfort in each other. So let's talk about the series as a whole. First of all, I'm going to talk through the top to bottom of my favourite to least favourite book, and this also applies to couples as well. It's the same order. Number 1 spot is Powerless, which is Sloane and Jasper. I gave this book a 4.75. I adored this book. The tropes in this book are childhood friends to lovers and hockey romance, sports romance, and close proximity as well. I adored this book. Sloane and Jasper were truly my favourite couple of the entire series. I thought they were brilliant together. It was so amazing. They've always loved each other and are so intense about each other, and they can be together. I also loved the characters individually. I loved Sloane. I thought she was so sweet, like how fiery she was. I really enjoyed that. I also loved the runaway bride at the beginning. I thought that was just such a good way to open the whole book. Next book I've put is Hopeless, which is the last book that I just read, and that book, as I said, the tropes were fake dating, 2 lost souls, and an age gap. And again, the spice scenes were everything and more. It was a we make each other whole sort of romance, and I adored it. And again, spice scenes, everything. Next one I loved was Flawless, which is Rhett and Summer. That book a 4.5. I really adored this book. Really an opener to the series, and the tropes in this were close proximity and the one bed trope. She's a babysitter for him and he's like grumpy about it, and she's just like getting on with her job. Sizzly tension they've got between them, and the romance is there, the chemistry, and I really loved it, and the spice scenes were it. Next is Heartless, which is Cade and Willa, and I gave this a 4.25. Not my favourite book because the tropes in it were not my favourite. This one has the trope of age gap and workplace romance. I enjoyed it still, but then the final trope at the end, which I cannot say because it will ruin the plot twist, I also didn't like that much either. But the 2 characters were okay, and yeah. Last book in the series, and also my bottom book, is Reckless with Theo and Winter, which I had to give a 3.75. I really didn't enjoy this book, and it's mainly down to the trope and also the characters. So it's unplanned pregnancy, which I really hate that trope. If you want to see I did a video actually which is rating the romance book tropes. Very clear that I do not enjoy unwanted pregnancy, unplanned pregnancy. Not interesting, and I don't like them. Did not like the relationship between Theo and Winter that much. Those like things that you got annoyed about with Winter, I just didn't agree with, and Winter was quite a negative person I just didn't like. And also on top of that, I didn't enjoy the time jump, but I enjoyed other people in the book, which isn't a great sign, but I preferred like the wedding and Harvey in that book. So my top 3 characters in this entire series were Summer, Harvey, and Jasper. Jasper, because I just found him so adorable, how he'd get so nervous talking about sex and intimate relationships, whereas in that scene in the books, he's really not sure about that. And then Harvey, I absolutely adored because he was just such a funny guy, and he's honestly the epitome of like that warm character. He accepts anybody into his family, and he's always there with open arms, and his inappropriate jokes are hilarious. Summer is always there to help anybody, and I adore that. On to the bottom 3. Number 1 is Winter, 2 Cade, and then Theo. Did not like Winter much because I found her character so negative, especially in the final book when she's having a chat with Beau. I found her just such a negative person. And then Cade, I didn't vibe with him, that's all. He's probably like loads of people's favourites, and that's fine. I just personally didn't vibe with him. I felt like he was just a bit too negative for my liking. Theo, I just didn't like the way he talked to Winter. The best bit about this book series, I will say, is that Chestnut Springs is such a cozy country town, and I would definitely recommend it for an autumn read. It was so brilliant, and I just felt so cozy in that town. I always talk about these like things in the books as if I've been there, but when you read a book, you do feel like you have been in that town, and I love Chestnut Springs. It's like the epitome of this like ranch style country. Everything's cozy. I just love it, and I just want to say, side note, I love the cowboy hat rule. I adore it. Also like a single bar there, which is like the place that everyone goes. It's very cozy, definitely reminds me of like my hometown because it's very much like a cozy town. It's not massive, like a massive city or anything. I also think that the amount of like family stuff in this I enjoyed. Very much centered around these brothers, and there was constantly stuff to do with them being brothers. Harvey, I just loved the amount of like family things in it with like the son and the children. Boys bull riding, I adored this series, and it's probably one of my favourite series now. And I also want to say something really controversial. If I had to pick between Twisted and Chestnut Springs, I would pick Chestnut Springs in a heartbeat, because as much as I enjoyed Twisted and the scenes were everything, the family aesthetic in this is just everything. It truly is one of those like feel-good romances where it's just everything, and the relationship that all the characters have is amazing. I hope you've enjoyed. I will see you guys next time with another video, which will be on Thursday. Subscribe and do all that stuff. But I would definitely recommend this series if you want a new romance to read. Brilliant. Yeah, thank you for watching.